the schedule is out for next season. And it's funny, we were just joking about this. I mean, we're living this nexus crazy era of college football. We weren't even sure if Tennessee would continue to play the opponents that they played, like Arkansas, and they do a home and home there. We weren't even really sure, but we now have a schedule, and it's nice to have that. Usually they make a big production out of it, but I get the feeling that the SEC just wants to churn this thing out like a Saturday newspaper. All right, so what do we got on the schedule? What are your early impressions?
Yeah, so the schedule. The 2025 schedule kicks off with Tennessee facing Syracuse in Atlanta, the Aflac kickoff game. Then they play East Tennessee State on September the 6th. It's basically this year for the SEC, it's this past year's schedule, just reverse home and away. They play, I kid you not, Dave, Georgia week 3, September the 13th. That's the SEC opener for Tennessee this year. Then you have UAB at Mississippi State. And after Mississippi State, they have the bye with Arkansas. They have a bye, and then they host Arkansas. Then they visit Alabama. They visit Kentucky. They host Oklahoma. Another bye, and they host New Mexico State. Then they visit Florida, and then they close with Vanderbilt at home. So their 2 byes are not really where you want your byes to be, because they're before playing New Mexico State and before playing Arkansas at home. You would obviously much rather your byes be before Georgia and before Alabama and even Florida, but that's not the case.
Yeah, Tennessee didn't get done any favors by this schedule, but I mean, that's not going to be the case anymore. Listen, if you look at Tennessee last year and you're putting the schedule together, you have to do one thing and one thing only, right, Caleb? It's go to Oklahoma, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that's just too good a gold. I mean, you can't be a content creator, and that's what these guys are that put these schedules together, and not go there. So you have to go to Oklahoma. So that game's going to be on the schedule. And then the rest of it is, do you want to keep basically Kentucky, Florida, and Alabama? So that's essentially where they went with that. I don't know what you do with Kentucky long term. I feel like they're the kid that wants to be everybody's best friend, but nobody really likes hanging out with them. And I don't know, other than Louisville, if they have a natural opponent, but it's not Tennessee. And Tennessee doesn't feel like it's Tennessee. So if you need to make a break there, do so. But even more so, what you're seeing right now is this schedule is going to be malleable. It's going to be something that they can work with. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, because let's say, Tennessee has an opener against Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart could get a head coaching job with the Jacksonville Jaguars making $25 million, and he's gone. So it's not perfect. But, Caleb, to put Tennessee and Georgia up front in the schedule, get used to that. I think the days of having the 3rd Saturday in October, which they'll try to keep going as long as they can, but of having the Florida game in September, of having the Georgia game a little bit, I think those are gone. I think it's where it fits best in TV land. And I guess it just depends on what kind of weather you like, whether or not you want it to be early or late in the season. But I mean, clearly this is a TV grab. I guarantee you can look at the schedule right now, and there's not another marquee game going against Tennessee, Georgia, which will be at 7:30 at night.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that was the big reason they did that. This used to be saved for Tennessee, Florida. And doesn't this really show how little faith they have in Florida as a program under Billy Napier going forward? Because
I thought there was a chance that you might go there. But they're not even. I think they would just change it up. I think if Kirby Smart wanted to go to the NFL and Billy Napier kind of got things rolling, I think they would move up the Florida game. So no, I guess to answer your question, I think the one that they don't want to move on the entire schedule is the 3rd Saturday in October. And we could debate whether or not that's a big deal or not. But no, I think if Kirby Smart went off to the NFL and Billy Napier started having success, they would just switch it up and have Florida, Tennessee play in the earlier game.
You're probably right. Now, of course, because Greg Sankey is employed by the Longhorns now, I don't know if you know this, Dave, but Texas gets its bye before they play Georgia. Wow. Magically, Texas got their bye before their biggest game of the year. I'm sure there's no protections whatsoever for the Longhorns. I'm sure the SEC isn't working overtime to make sure they get preferential treatment. Do you, Dave? You don't think they're doing that, do they?
I think it's pretty clear that the SEC wants Texas to be in that foil at least position. Whether or not they're a champion or not, I think they make for a great foil. To me, and I know you don't keep up with wrestling, and neither did I, but I did watch.
No, I do.
Oh,
I used to.
Okay, so this is right now. Georgia is Hulk Hogan. Okay, and then the big, huge monster foil is Andre the Giant,
which is Texas.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I could absolutely.
That's what they're doing, and they want, and they want, they feel like they need, as if they haven't had enough because it's happened twice this year. I think they feel like they need that, that big moment. What do they used to call the big wrestling things where they all get together and wrestle around in spandex and stuff? WrestleMania. I feel like they need that big WrestleMania 10 where the Hulk flipped Andre the Giant. I feel like that's what they're shooting for.
Well, at that point, Texas is Hulk Hogan and Georgia's Andre the Giant, and they need the moment where Texas finally gets the win. But you know,
yeah, but Texas is on its way out.
Right, but Texas has lost to them at home. They've lost to them on a neutral field. Now they have to go to Georgia. The SEC's working overtime like, come on, Texas, please beat Georgia once for us. I think they want Texas to win because Texas is such a draw. They have worked, I'm sorry, y'all, they have worked overtime to give Texas every single benefit since joining the SEC, notwithstanding the easiest schedule they could possibly give them last year. So
I agree. I think they want them to be the foil. I think that they would have been fine with Alabama being the foil, to whichever one would be the foil to Georgia. One would be the protagonist, one would be the antagonist, but whichever. I think they were fine with that playing out. But when Nick Saban retired, they feel like they had to find a foil.
And they had already punished Nick Saban in Alabama, too, with the most ridiculously difficult schedule this past year. Now, that doesn't mean Alabama deserved to go to the playoff. You know, you don't lose 24-3 to Oklahoma in the second to last week of the season. But, yeah, that's I think the real story is it's very suspicious how Texas keeps getting breaks in their schedule that aren't just based that are up to discretion. I'm just going to say that.
I got no argument with that.